What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Should have liked and sub, and let's get into this. So, even though Bombadil was not in the actual Lord of the Ring movies, and Peter Jackson gave all the reasons why they didn't do that, time and pacing and story amongst several of them, it messed with the flow of the way they had already switched things around. So, Tom Bombadil will be in Rings of Power, much to everyone's terror. Here we go: the Lord of the Rings of Power showrunners Patrick McKay and J.D. Payne. Yep, they're still there. Not only did they not get fired, they got their own production company and another 3-year deal. So, confirmed that they are including the enigmatic Tom Bombadil in the second season of the show, but they will also be significantly altering him. What a shock. By the way, this is all deliciously right after George R.R. Martin, just obviously a different author, just came out and lambasted Hollywood for continuing to butcher the source material from authors such as Tolkien and himself, probably. So yeah, we're getting Tom Bombadil speaking to Variety about the upcoming second season. The showrunners confirmed the character will appear and he will be played by Rory Kinnear. As for his role in the second season, he will be part of the Hobbit and the Stranger storyline. Oh, thank God we get back to the Harfoots. Payne shared in our story, he has gone out to the lands of Rune, which we learn used to be sort of Edenic and green and beautiful, but now it's sort of a dead wasteland. Tom has gone out there to see what's happened as he goes on his various wanderings. Payne goes on to confirm he will interact with the stranger, not Gandalf, Nori and Poppy. When he finally crosses paths with the stranger, you could say he has a desire to try and keep the destruction that has happened there from spreading to his beloved lands in the West. He nudges the stranger along his journey, which he knows will eventually protect the larger neutral world that he cares about. Not Gandalf. He then declared that the show is significantly altering the character. So I'd say our Tom Bombadil is slightly more interventionist than you see in the books, but he's only 5 or 10% different. So it's more like we got Tom Bombadil at home than Etsy version of Tom Bombadil. As for the Bombadil's role in the larger season, Payne relayed season 1 set the pieces on the chessboard, and in season 2 the pieces are in motion, and it's really about the villains. You've got Sauron, who is not cloaked behind the guise of the human refugee Halbrand anymore. No, now he's got a shitty Fear the Beardo wig. The audience knows he's Sauron, so now we're watching him maneuver as he's manipulating the burn scar covered dark elf Adar, who's another villain of the season and whose actor straight up left the show after the first season. Speaking specifically to Bombadil, he added, really, Tom is sort of a curiosity within that structure because while he is darker, Tom Bombadil is singing and saying lines that could be nursery rhymes from children's poems. So he sort of defies the tonal shift of the rest of the season and is a real point of light amidst an otherwise sea of darkness. And of course, there's that wig that everyone laughed at. Same actor as Halbrand. Tom Bombadil first appears in The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, after Frodo's companions, Merry and Pippin, are captured by Old Man Willow. He's able to rescue them both by singing a song to the tree and then smiting it with the branch he breaks off from it. After rescuing the hobbits, he invites them back to his house where his wife, Goldberry, has prepared a bountiful supper. Upon arriving at Bombadil's, Frodo questions Goldberry as to who he is. Goldberry explains, he is as you have seen him. He is the master of the wood, water, and hill. When asked if the land belongs to him, Goldberry retorts, no, indeed. That would indeed be a burden. The trees and the grasses and all things growing or living in the land belong each to themselves. Tom Bombadil is the master. No one has ever caught old Tom walking in the forest, wading in the water, leaping on the hilltops under the light and shadow. He has no fear. Tom Bombadil is the master. Wouldn't be allowed to use that language. Not inclusive. As far as Tolkien's view on the character, he made it abundantly clear in a number of letters to Stanley Owen. He describes him as the spirit of the vanishing Oxford and Berkshire countryside. In letter 144, Tolkien also made it abundantly clear he left Tom Bombadil as an intentional enigma. He said, and even in the mythical age, there must be some enigmas, and there always are. Tom Bombadil is one. intentionally. So this just going to show Tolkien intended him to be a mystery, and they're going to take the mystery out of it, probably. As far as Tom Bombadil's place in the narrative, Tolkien also informed in letter 144, Tom Bombadil is not an important person to the narrative. And clearly Peter Jackson agreed, which is why they were able to take him out. I suppose he has some importance as a comment. I mean, I do not really write like that. He is just an invention. And he represents something that I feel important, though I would not be prepared to analyze the feeling precisely. I would not, however, have left him in if he did not have some kind of a function. Tolkien elaborated, I might put it this way. The story is cast in terms of good side and a bad side, beauty against ruthless ugliness, tyranny against kinship, moderated freedom with consent against compulsion that has long lost any object save mere power, and so on. But both sides, in some degree, conservative or destructive, want a measure of control. But if you have, or as it were, taken a vow of poverty, renounced control, and take your delight in things for themselves, without reference to yourself, watching, observing, and to some extent knowing, then the question of rights and wrongs of power and control might become utterly meaningless to you, and the means of power quite valueless. It is a natural pacifist view which always arises in the mind when there is a war. But the view of Rivendell seems to be that it is an excellent thing to have represented, but that there are in fact things which it cannot cope, and upon which its existence nonetheless depends. Ultimately, only victory of the West will allow Bombadil to continue or even to survive. Nothing would be left for him in the world of Sauron. And what I took away from that is, I know you don't like the culture war, but ultimately there's only one way for us to have good internet. You can be pacifist all you want and watch everything being destroyed, but the only way to win the culture war and to get good movies, TV shows, television shows, video games, everything free of that jackhammered in agenda is you can't cope your way out of it. You have to recognize that the war must be fought and won. Thank you for that insight, Tolkien. He further shared he has no connection in my mind with the Entwives. What happened to them is not resolved in the book. He is, in a way, the answer to them in the sense that he is the opposite, being, say, botany or zoology and poetry as opposed to cattle breeding and agriculture. And this just goes on to list, he goes on some more, just putting him, in other words, there's no lack of exactly how, when, and where, and why to put Bombadil in, and they will butcher it, even with this litany of evidence. Of note, Bombadil's confirmation might indicate other rumors regarding the second season are true. The OneRing.net previously indicated Bombadil would appear in the show, with the outlet's Justin Sewell noting on a live stream, spotted on set as an actor who in the dialogue is being called Tom. When asked if this was in reference to Tom Bombadil, it was answered, it's 100% Tom Bombadil. That's what they are saying. Tom Bombadil has been cast and will show up in season 2. The outlet's Cliff Broadway would later report that one of their sources informed him that there would be an episode focused on the romance between Bombadil and Goldberry. All right. However, the source also revealed Tom Bombadil and Goldberry aren't in an episode. They are played by the same actor and actress as Melkor, Morgoth, and that's interesting. The show will confirm that long-held fan theory with that Tom and Goldberry are Melkor and Ugoliant serving out their punishment bestowed upon them. Yeah, I'd say Melkor is the one that Gary always says was worse than Sauron, and that's I don't like that. I don't like that they're going to confirm any sort of fan theories, but of course they will. Anyway, Tolkien himself said he was supposed to be an enigma intentionally, and they're going to take the enigma out by confirming that he was like the first dark one, basically, or whatever the hell. I don't know. Let me know what you think of this. Make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you. And bye.
Well, bye.